You are now listening to Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, the voice for the people. Join Richie alongside co-host property damage attorney Hans Kennon as they bring light to the taboo world of big insurance companies, exposing their tactics and fighting for justice. Hear stories from contractors across the state. Contractor Talk, here to protect homeowners and uncover the truth.
All right, welcome to the show. Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell every Monday night right here on this fine radio dial, 94.9 FM, 950 on the AM dial. The Answer, in case there are people that are still listening to live radio, yes, like talk radio, as you would like drive through town here in Orlando. Check us out there. Most of us, believe it or not, I still have people that listen to us specifically just on Spotify or iTunes. And you have some people that just love to tune in and check out Hans' Dapper Suit of the Week on our YouTube page. Check us out there. Here he is checking out his new suit top. And I say new because it's new to me, possibly, who knows. But the ensemble together has never been in one place. Never seen before. There you go. So that's the mystery of it right there. Just enough for you to intrigue you to check out our YouTube page if you haven't already. Years and years of shows there on our YouTube page. So like us, subscribe to our YouTube page and never miss a show. We have great different topics for you in the insurance related market. Hans Kennon is a board certified property insurance attorney, but it's all lines of insurance type of litigation that you fight for homeowners for. I'll let you describe what you do. What's going on, Hans?
Sure. Hey, good to see you. I'm a board certified civil trial lawyer. Only about 2% of all lawyers in the state of Florida are board certified in any specialty, so very happy about that. Got that almost 15 years ago. Actually, I've been doing it so long they don't even ask me to requalify anymore. I've done it for so long. But I handle all property damage claims and personal injury matters. Here we talk more about the property side. If your claim has been denied or underpaid by your own insurer, we're happy to help you with that. I have myself, another lawyer, a staff of 9, and we handle these claims on an ongoing basis, week in, week out, helping people get what they're already owed, which is a little sad that I get people what they're already owed.
Right,
because should have been paid in the first place. but even so, that's kind of where the situation is right now.
Yeah, now, and even helping people understand their policy and or file a new claim if they didn't know if the damage that they have on their home property was claimable, so to speak.
Sure. The worst thing a client of ours can do, and we always tell them if they have another loss, don't call the insurer, call us. The worst thing you can do if you're listening to the show and you're not my client or not our guest client is when you call the insurer to ask if you should make a claim. People do it all the time. They go, well, I called the insurer and asked them like if I should make a claim now or wait or what I should do. And you just go like, oh. Then you go, what'd they tell you? And they're like, well, and would they say whatever they say, and it's always bad. It's always wrong. I got a kin policy in today that now has a direct repair program endorsement, which is it's 7 pages to describe an option to repair. In an HO3 policy, the option to repair paragraph is like 12 lines or 20 lines in your little policy. They got a 7-page document outlining what you have to do or can't do. And the worst part is when I read through it, it doesn't even clearly tell you how they're screwing you. Usually, at least most of the insurers will say, if you don't do this, we're going to like People's Trust. If they send you a check and you cash it, you can get no more money. It acts as a release. It's an ACV, an actual cash value payment. So literally, people get checks in the mail and they go, oh, I should probably put this in the bank to safeguard the money, right? Mm-hmm. People's Trust, you sign a check and deposit it, it is done. Your claim's over.
But the statute says they owe you for RCV, which is replacement cost value. What if you were paid for the repairs out of your pocket?
Richie. You know, it's not Peter Pan, my friend. So no, there's nothing you can do. But so literally the policy says, and the letter says, but it's written in language, as they say, only a Philadelphia lawyer would understand. But basically it says, if you cash this check, your claim's over. Like they should just have a letter that opens up that
Universal
says that.
Property and Casualty, they used to do that. They used to have like this release language on their back of their check by endorsing this or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I always put, I do not agree, and I'd sign it, and never would they try me like that, like a free sample. Because I was like, go ahead, try me. I think they picked their battles. They picked their battles very well. But my question to you, Hans, is on that, because it's already, that definitely makes me mad. The whole, I have to use your preferred pretender in the policy kind of thing. So you're saying now Ken went from this, because they're huge on the anti-AOB stuff. They're huge on having you sign things that you have no idea for what you're signing for, all in the name of a discount. So now you're saying that they have this, I call them riders all the time.
Sure.
But
well, they have an endorsement to the policy now that has this 7-page endorsement. Now, what's odd, though, is you have to sign an agreement to participate in the program first.
Whose program? Ken's program?
Ken's program. And the client we're talking to now is like, I don't remember signing anything. I mean, so who knows? We got to find that out. But then once you sign to be in the program, you have to then sign again. And when you have a loss, that you're consenting to the program. Now, here's the biggest problem I have. Well, not big. There's 100 problems. Yeah. But years ago with State Farm, when State Farm used to have their preferred cloud, whatever it was called, they made the insured sign a contract with the contractor.
Right.
And so if there was a problem with the contractor, you couldn't go back to State Farm because they're like, hey.
Right. You signed a contract with them, not mine.
And this is exactly something the KIN document says. You sign directly with the contractor, which means literally they are walking away from the client. You get any problems, like, you can call our customer care line if you have a concern. But my beef has always been with these programs that they make you sign with the contractor. They don't make you sign with the insurance company who sends out a contractor. They completely then extract themselves from the process, which I think is literally bad faith, because they're giving you to somebody who they're in bed with, who they've got a deal from in some form or fashion, whether it be the cost of repairs or some other amount of money getting paid, or they wouldn't do it. And they're like, yeah, you're good with them. But even when you define contractor in the endorsement, it doesn't actually say, I mean, it's a little vague. Well, it's a lot vague, but it doesn't actually say they got to be licensed as a contractor. It just it doesn't say Florida licensed. It just kind of says a contractor of general specificity, or some goofy term like that.
Of their choosing.
But it's definitely of their choosing. And then you're not eligible if certain things occur. It's one of the craziest things I've seen in a while. But so if you have KIN insurance, you can sign to opt into the program. And when you look at the deck sheet, though, take this. Sorry, this is going on, but it just kills me. The declaration sheet does not reflect any discount for the endorsement. Like you would expect, they would give you something for the privilege of contracting with. But when you go to the checklist of coverage, there are deductions for like wind reduction, different things, but nothing says there's a reduction for the endorsement to use their guy, and you still your deductible. Some insurers will waive the deductible if you use their guy. You still pay all your deductible.
Is it carte blanche? Like if you have a $2,000 water loss, you have to use their people, or is there like a citizens type of thing where you have $10,000 to use whoever you want, or use our preferred pretender?
No, it's their election. It's their election whether it's $1 or $1 million.
Is it a timeline like what they used to have? Like if you don't invoke it within 30 days, you can use whoever you want?
No, People's Trust policy used to say we'll let you know in 30 days that we're going to invoke.
Right.
No, this doesn't have any time frame other than they can send you the consent. It's just worded in such a way that
is KIN like Avatar, like just redone and remastered into KIN. It's like they just seem like they just do whatever they want. They push everybody to this electronic sign up. I actually went through it just because of the anti-AOB stuff, and I'm like, in no way did it show me a policy that offered a full assignment of benefit and one that didn't, and one was cheaper. And I'm like, that's literally what the statute says. So when I sue them multiple times over again for non-compliance, and then I asked them for the endorsement through our lawyers. So we say, hey, give us the endorsement that was signed. And then they send the whole policy, and there's no endorsement signed in there. And they're like, all right, where do you want us to send the check? But they're like, why every time they're so like threatening whenever you send a letter to say, hey, you owe for this money. No, we don't, blah, blah, blah. We'll countersue you. We'll sue everybody if you try to collect on us. It reminds me of Avatar, who did not last in this Florida environment so long because they fought every single thing.
Oh, yeah, no, I certainly agree with that. Avatar was, again, I think they failed because of their truly anti-insured, anti-consumer mentality, which was not pay anything. And truly, if you want to define delay, deny, defend, I mean, they were the kings of that.
Sure.
When they went out of business, the legislature was like, oh, we've lost an insurer. Yeah. Well, look, they were thinly capitalized to start.
Right.
owned
and only had 30,000 policies, and they fought every single one. They didn't, per capita, they didn't have that many claims per how many policies they had, but every single one, they hired the other side, that defense attorney that everybody was like, I never want to fight with. They just gave them an open checkbook to go and harass everybody.
They really did, and I think hopefully someone would see that as a model of how not to run an insurer. By denying everything doesn't mean you make a lot of money. It usually means you're going to end up going out of business, which is exactly what happened with Avatar. So
right. Well, and luckily enough, though, I was going to say, if anything could come from this, like you kind of mentioned this, Hans, about that whole theory of now some of those insurance companies went out that were underfunded and fought everything, and then we had several storms. They came in at the wrong time is really what happening. Plus, their business, they spent money poorly, right? They fought everything. They overpaid the subsidiaries. They did everything that all the Florida companies were doing. Are only supposed to make 4.5%. So they overpay the subsidiaries that they set up, and then they're running on these thin margins. A storm comes by, and they're like, "Whoops!" Office of Insurance Regulation then puts them in probation for 90 days, and then you start to see the downfall of them saying, "You know what? Let's go ahead and parachute ourselves out," which was several articles about the Sunshine insurance company or whatever. From some years ago. Yeah.
One thing I was mentioning is Frontline came into creation, I think, around 2006, 2007, and we had about 8 years without any real hurricanes. So they ended up made millions and millions and millions of dollars because they had nothing. Real honestly, they had nothing to pay.
Sure.
And then you have Avatar that comes in, whatever it was, maybe 14, 15 before Irma, if my memory serves correct.
That's right.
And then obviously they had a lot of claims and then a lot of backlash from their actions.
Right.
But yes, if you time it right, you might build up enough reserve. Avatar did time it incorrectly. But the Washington Post talked about essentially in Florida, the average claim is about $11,000 if they pay it, about $40,000 if they fight it.
Right.
And again, doesn't take much to realize. I would say insurance companies know how to count money. They know how many they can deny before it actually hurts their bottom line, how many they have to pay, or how they have to couch the wording of their letters. And so Avatar thought, again, I think they had bad actuarials who said, deny everything and let's see who fights us.
Right.
Well, back in that day, everybody fought everything. And they lost because they made bad decisions and didn't pay claims.
Right. And then you fast forward to all of that bad noise, misinformation coming from the insurance company lobby side. And, we're all banging our head up against the wall going, what in the world are they coming up with? Trying to suggest that all the litigation that occurs in Florida is, the nexus, like 78% of all the litigation in all of the United States out of this, smaller percentage of pool of insurance claims. And they were running with that so they can make these law changes happen. And some of the people, I was at every single committee hearing, there was a couple of legislators that were speaking back at it and saying, oh no, you guys weren't Well, FJA, of course. Was there. Reggie was up there. Jeff was up there, and they spoke. They said, hey, you missed Texas. You missed, I think, New York, and you missed some Montana or something like that. And they're like, yeah, 5 people live there in Montana, but they didn't comment on you missing out on all the non-wind claims and stuff like that. All they were talking about is wind claims in certain areas to make up this bad number. Well, they use that as their as their trophy horse, or however you want to call it, to say, this is why we need to make all these excessive law changes. And then in 2022, at the end via special sessions, and then the beginning of 2023, Governor Dictator DeSantis at that point, who was bought out by the insurance lobby when he was running for president, got $100 million, and in return, he does their bidding. And exactly what happened, and that's why we had the special sessions. They did have to concede to the Senate, was it Senate Bill 4D, which was the condo stuff, because the Democrats wanted something for their constituents. So they spit out this, we'll give you the Surfside protection bill for all the residents there, even though that was a nightmare. But in exchange, we were going to build up all the Republicans that are outnumber the Republicans, make them all stick together to make this excessive insurance swing of pendulum over to the insurance side. So assignment of benefits was gone. No attorney's fees for assignment of benefits, and then no attorney's fees for homeowners. No bad faith. Everything taking away from the from the homeowner side of things to keep the pressure on the insurance company. So at their worst day now, if you were to file a claim, they're only going to have to pay what they should have paid in the beginning, right? And so to the detriment of the consumer, which has never been like that since late 1800s, where that law was set in place in our Florida legislature that said that if the insurance company is wrong in any insurance dispute, medical, auto, and property, and even a life, if they were wrong by $1, they pay your attorney's fees and costs. That's the way it should be. But because of our bought-out dictator governor, he made that all happen, and now we're all paying the price. Now, the only good thing let me go back to when I was saying the only good thing that came out of all that junk is that more insurance companies are entering now. So there are so many insurance companies I've never even heard of, but they are now entering the market because of the laws and the way they are today. They're anti-consumer, they're more pro-insurance, and it's a way that insurance companies don't have to show their true books. Even though Senate Bill 76 was explicit on suggesting that they show all of their expenses, how much you spent on litigation, how much you spent on defense costs, all of that stuff. OIR, Office of Insurance Regulation, has never enforced that. So now we have insurance companies doing whatever they want. Citizens protected by this sovereign immunity thing owned by the state of Florida. So we're not really getting anything except for a lot of corruption. We got citizens that were taking a ton of policies, 1.4 million at its height a few years ago, depopulating to all these new insurance companies coming in, giving a ton of stuff and a lot of love to our friend Bruce Lucas, who owns Slide Insurance, who took over all of UPC, 91,000 policies, got paid up front for all those 91,000 policies. I'm a little jealous. And then all the claims went to FIGA, the Florida Insurance Guarantee Association, which is now up to like $50 every time I do my renewal.
All the bad claims got given to FIGA for the taxpayers to take over.
It did. And then again, even though that's such a bad, I'm continuing going on all the chaos that is created. But what it has done is let more insurance companies enter the market. So there should be more competition that should bring it down in price. But we do have an insurance expert here today to talk about that. Somebody that knows all different lines of insurance and can talk about, are the prices starting to come down? That's what the consumers want to know today. It's like, okay, I know we talk about this all the time, how bad insurance companies are. Do we even need it? Should we just self-insure, for crying out loud? But give me a good carrier, give me a good price, right? And not all these crazy exclusions. Can I make that happen? And we say this all the time. Don't shop individual insurance companies, shop agents that can bring you 20, 30, 40 different insurance companies and give you a better price and look for what you want, which is none of these crazy exclusions and caps and limitations and all that kind of stuff. So tonight we have Tony with Great Florida Insurance Agency. What's going on, Tony?
Not much. Thanks for having me on tonight, guys. I'm Tony Busby, owner of Great Florida Insurance of Lake Nona and Hunters Creek. Great Florida is a franchise. I own 2 out of the 144 agencies that are throughout the state of Florida. And I write with about 20 different homeowners carriers, about the same for auto, and I have probably total for everything, work comp, business insurance, probably close to 150 carriers.
That's amazing. So you can help out somebody, whether they're an individual just looking for home or auto insurance, to the business owner who's looking to get general liability, workers' comp on their building, and such like that. So you can help out many folks here listening tonight.
I'm the guy who writes the hard to write stuff. I write a ton of scuba boats, scuba shops, long haul trucking, appliance delivery and installation. I'm actually working with a carrier right now to set up a work comp program for them, because there is no standard work comp program for appliance delivery and installation. So what we're trying to do is get them away from the PEOs, because that's costing them a ton of money, is working with these PEOs, because they have to pay for their payroll and all this other stuff. They can't do anything in-house. And a lot of these guys are going out of business because they're being nickeled and dimed to death by the insurance carriers. Now, I am not your typical agent. I'm going to look right at my client and say, the carriers are not your friend. We work for you, not the carriers. You know, my wife and I got so sick and tired of seeing our clients get steamrolled by the carriers in, 2019 through 22. My wife finally was like, one of us is going to become a public adjuster, and we're going to help fight for our clients. So I am the only insurance agency that I'm aware of that has an in-house public adjusting firm that's independently licensed, insured, and bonded.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, because so many people have these questions and they are told, call your insurer, Or like Hans was suggesting, like Ken Insurance has you call them for everything. It's like it's almost like the definition of monopoly. It's crazy.
I'm also a licensed claims adjuster. So, I mean, I
awesome.
don't practice the claims adjuster, but it does give me the ability to speak to the client about their claim and then pass them off to our claims department.
Which is really a very big deal, I know, because on the agent side, I mean, the agent knows how to essentially sell you a policy. But as far as when claims do occur, as I always say, I ask my clients to call me. I'm sure Tony asks his clients to call him first. I find that a lot of the agents aren't very well versed in how to perfect the claim. They can give you the 800 number, but not how to perfect the claim kind of before you put yourself into the system.
Well, they're not even writing half these policies correctly. They're doing what I call shop on price. They're giving the client the cheapest policy with the absolute worst coverage. Great example. Came across my wife's desk because my wife also does claims adjusting for people outside of us, obviously. Snake Farm, let's call them. Let's use their real name.
That's their real name.
Like all snake.
Snake Farm. One of their agents took a $350,000 townhouse and manipulated the RCE, which is the replacement cost estimator for those who don't know what that means. And they wrote the policy for walls in coverage. $7,100 was their limit. No. They had a leaky toilet on the third floor that did damage to all 3 floors. And then when they called their Snake Farm agent, that agent turned around and was like, oh, well, you're not responsible for pipes. That's the HOA. No, that is absolutely wrong. Walls in is from the concrete in. So you're responsible for your electric. You're responsible for your plumbing. You're responsible for your drywall, your studs, all that stuff. So that client is actually suing her and placing an E&O claim.
Good, I was going to say.
And a lot of problems we have is when I first started in the industry a little over a decade ago, my wife's been in the industry for like 30 years. But when I started a decade ago, E&O insurance was relatively inexpensive for an insurance agent. You know, we were paying like $800 a year. Now I have no E&O claims, $6,400 a year.
Ooh, wow.
You know why? Because somebody does.
Yeah. I mean, I explain to people all the time that insurance is the largest social program, and a lot of people come to me and they go, insurance is a scam. And I tell them, you're right. It is a scam until you need it.
Right. I was explaining to someone the other day, people who I thought were relatively sophisticated, I said, insurance is a pooled risk system. Everyone puts money, it's like a swimming pool. Everyone puts water in the pool, but everybody can't take from the pool or else there's no water left.
Right.
I said, so you got to get used to the idea that you're all in this together. You know, and once I think they understood more of how the concept of how insurance works, people don't think of it as we're all in this together. They think of them as themselves against someone else. Well, it's a pooled risk system. So there you go.
And that's also the day of the times. Everybody is so self-loathing and oh, I'm the most important thing in the world. They don't think of other people in a lot of cases. But going back to what you were saying about Ken, are you aware that there's an insurance company right now that they are taking people's hurricane deductibles? If they had 2% upon their renewal, they are switching them to 5%. And the only notice the client gets is a letter in the mail that says, if you don't sign an affidavit saying you want to stay at 2%, we're automatically moving you to 5%.
Oh, I hate that.
Cow.
We found out about that because in my office works differently from a lot of people. I write the bulk majority of the commercial. I have a whole team dedicated to home, auto, and I have one person dedicated to going over all of our renewals. That's their entire job. So every day they open up the current policy, they open up the renewal, they compare apples to apples, see how much it went up, how much it went down, and how we are going to continue to help the customer be successful.
Wow.
So
Gotcha. And Tony, this is our countdown here for the commercial break. So we still got 30 seconds here. Now, if somebody does have questions for you, would love for you to give out your information. How do they get a hold of you, both by phone, by email, by website? How do they get a hold of you?
Phone is 407-270-8220. Email is Tony B, Tony, B as in boy, @greatflorida.com, all spelled out. And then our website is lakenona.greatflorida.com.
Gotta love that. All right. So if you have questions, definitely reach out to Tony. Give him a call, email. Those things are very important, especially as we're going into hurricane season. And right after the break, we're going to talk about being prepared for the upcoming hurricane season. We'll be right back. Take a commercial break. Be right back. All right, we're back. We're back. Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell right here on this fine radio dial, 94.9 FM, 950 on the AM dial. If you're listening to us on Spotify or iTunes, continue to check us out here and or cross-check us out there on, what do they call that? Like where they do like a cross thing or whatever, you know, those shows that they do nowadays. I don't know.
Fact-checking? I don't know. What are we talking about?
No. Like when they do like a cross episode event or something like that, you can check us out on YouTube. Anyways, I was going somewhere cool with that, but you get it. So check us out on YouTube and many different ways to consume our show, Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell. We are sponsored by the Restoration Association of Florida. Check us out, raflorida.org. If you want to become a member, you want to know what's going on, come to our next event. It's right there on our website, raflorida.org. Find us on social media, Restoration Association of Florida. Like us, and check out our next event. Many of the events that we do have are great in this industry. If you're a contractor, you want to know what's going on, be a part of the association, check us out there. Eventually, we'll make our way towards these consumer groups who are looking for this connection. They only have like these contractor connections available for insurance companies who choose what contractor to use. And so there will be a time where this association gathers all of our contractors that work for homeowners and actually put that to use for selection by an insurance company after a loss, a hurricane. There's not enough vendors in the state of Florida, and you'll see that after a major catastrophe or an event that the state of Florida will allow contractors to come in from other states without having to get a license immediately. And you know that the state needs contractors when the state of Florida does that. We've seen that happen year after year after these major storms or events. But during the break, we're talking. It's funny because many of us, when we get together, we talk about now today being the official day of storm season. Hurricane season has started in the state of Florida. June 1st to, did we say after Thanksgiving? Was that the?
I think Thanksgiving, but maybe
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Thanksgiving. So I'll go with that until proven otherwise. But we'll definitely look it up. But today is the official start of hurricane season, and it is stated to be less climatic than it was last year, meaning even though we didn't have anything last year, we had Milton at the end of 24.
October 9th and 10th.
That's right. And we had nothing in 2025 name storm-wise.
Now, keep in mind, 2025 was a bit of a weather anomaly. There were a ton of storms. Well, it wasn't like the Atlantic was all quiet. There were tons of storms that came off Africa. All the storms that primarily hit us come off the coast of Africa. You can watch them on, there's weather programs I have. You can see like in the Sudan, these crazy places, these lows begin and they just slowly just drift off. So last year, there was a ton of storms, but there was a cold pressure front from Canada that kind of hung out, that bounced them away. So people think, oh, we had no storms last year. No. We had a ton of storms
Canada's
last year.
fault.
It was, but stuff bounced off. I get this thing at my house. It's kind of a foreign thing. Richie loves when I talk about it.
What is it, Hans?
It's wait for it. It's a newspaper, and they print information on wait for it, newsprint.
What?
And it's made of paper, and you can still get it down at your local store. But
tell me more about this paper thing that has writing on it.
You know, print is dead, as they say. It's Orlando Sentinel Hurricane Guide 2026. And the only thing I'll say is for weeks, weather experts have predicted a below average 2026 Atlantic hurricane season beginning Monday with a total of 13 named storms.
Yep. So instead of 15 last year, they said it's a lot less. So it's 13 named storms.
So for everyone, so their concern is that with all these predictions being put out in the news and, it's below normal, could have been last year, except if any of those storms had actually hit the coast of Florida. So right now, there's less storms, but at least sitting here today, that same front that acted a little bit like a pinball machine or a ping pong table bouncing it off is not currently present. So the storms that didn't hit us last year could easily hit us today if today was what we were talking about.
Right. And one of the only paths that I see to get back, or to at least bring that message to Tallahassee that we need things to be more even. And the pendulum has swung too far over to the side of insurance, that we need some middle ground here. And the only way that's going to make a change is if, and I hate to say it this way, is if a major storm hit and a lot of people who are, I was going to say, continue to get screwed by their insurance company, make a lot of noise in Tallahassee. Legislators themselves get screwed by their insurance company. They start to make some noise, make a change. And maybe the next governor isn't going to be so restrictive and make them do their bidding as Dictator DeSantis has the last couple of years.
Well, here's two things coming up. They've obviously changed the FEMA system through the current administration up in Washington. So the discussion already is that FEMA is not going to have the money it used to have to give, and the state's going to have to do it. There's been a promise that if the states run out of money, well, the government says, we'll give you some. So you got that coming up. So FEMA, the folks at FEMA are actually, by their own acknowledgement, we're robust and strong, but still they note that they are concerned about a lack of personnel, a lack of funds, lack of ability to help people. And today is supposed to begin a special session regarding property taxes, which everyone may think is good because DeSantis is trying to eliminate or bring down property taxes. But what it's going to do is the current version of the bill that's being presented does not provide an exclusion of emergency services. So the emergency services, if they cut your tax bill, you might want to drive yourself to the hospital next time because the ambulance isn't coming because there's no money for it. So, and also just out of statement, he went to a press conference and said it was up to $500,000 of a house. It's really $250,000. I mean, there's a lot of things he said at the press conference are not in the bill. But again, keep in mind, federal government cut FEMA, the state government's about to make it so the emergency services can't get to you.
Well, I mean, are they saying that the taxes
for the first $250,000 of a homestead property will not pay any property taxes on that money?
Yeah, that's homestead only.
Homestead only.
Right.
So all commercial rentals still will be paying.
Right. So investors are still paying on their properties, but if you only have one home, you claim your homestead.
Yes.
So up to $250,000. That sounds great to me.
Correct.
And so as a consumer, but you're also saying but what other tax dollars revenues goes towards our fire services, our police services, and roadways and such like that?
It's all city county. I mean, other than sales tax, which they get end up raising to 10% from 7.25% or 7.5%. It is taxes. Your tax bill, basically, I always say, what does the federal government do for me? Almost nothing other than national defense. What does state government do for me? I'm not too sure either. But city and county, they're the ones who, again, it's school buses, education, because they're looking to cut the education budgets also through this tax. So education and emergency services are not exempt from being cut under the bill that's being presented. I'm sorry to go off on this. I know it's a little different topic today. But there's got to be money to pay for those services. And under the bill as it's currently situated, which is expected to pass, because everyone's going to say to themselves, oh, that's great. Well, it's going to pass enough to be a referendum in November. Everyone's going to say, well, I'll save a couple grand on my first $250,000 of taxes. The money doesn't come. Usually people complain, well, I don't have kids in school anymore, so what do I care about schools, which is a bad idea anyway. But now if you're saying, I don't care about the ambulances, I don't care about fire trucks, I don't care about cops coming to my house if I got a problem, people should think about that before they're too excited to put a couple grand in their pocket.
Well, if municipalities actually stopped putting in all these zero lot line homes and actually focused on bringing in some commercial, if you have between 30 and 35% commercial geographically in a municipality, the tax revenue alone will be 75% of the taxes that they need to operate. But that's the problem. Like, I live in St. Cloud. We sit at about 10%. Geographically commercial. Yeah. So, if this tax stuff goes through, it's going to affect St. Cloud. But St. Cloud also has a reputation for being the hardest city to work with businesses, pull permits, do anything unless you're a big developer.
So this tax bill, again, people always are very short-sighted in this world. And the government doesn't write you a check, just to be clear about that. They simply forgive the first $250,000. So your tax bill does go down, but no one gives you money. It's still up to you to go, oh, look, my bill has gone down. I should take that money and put it in my pocket. But most people, they're simply just going to pay less and have no actual positive impact.
So now transactions for real estate will still be taxed and such like that, because I remember hearing him, Governor DeSantis, talk about about this bill, and he says, like, listen, like when you buy something, you pay taxes on it. You shouldn't have to continue to pay taxes on it year after year after year. When you buy an object, right, you pay taxes on it one time, right? Not every single year. And so I got that, and I actually agree with that.
Well, I mean, but look, if I buy a car and I pay sales tax, the government has no further obligations to assist me with my car. If I buy a home, the part of the social contract and the obligation is it will provide me schools, transportation to schools, police, fire, ambulance. I think that's part of it. So him to say, well, you already paid for your house and paid. You don't really pay tax. You don't pay taxes on it. You don't pay taxes when you buy a house for $500,000. You don't write them a check for $35,000 for sales tax. There's no taxes paid. So it's kind of an odd concept that, well, you already own the house, you shouldn't have to pay anybody. Well, then do it this way. Then no police, no fire, no ambulance unless I pay it myself, right? When you call, hey, 911, my wife is dying. Can I have your credit card, please? Because we need to make sure we get paid because there's no money for us now. You have to pay it yourself.
Well, guess what? With ambulances, you basically do that already because they charge you for the ambulance ride.
Right.
Yeah, but my insurance company pays for it. And
If
at least
you have insurance,
and at least I got to the hospital.
Yeah.
That's what at least I got a ride with some guys who'd hopefully give me some oxygen or something to hold me over.
Well, that's something I'm definitely interested in looking into, because I know some municipalities, have the resources. They have toll booths that they never take down, for crying out loud. The Beeline, remember that a long time ago? They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna take this toll once we pay for the road, and then they just moved it to a different county and just keep charging people. You're like, you guys, man.
and they add more.
Yeah, and now they add the fast lane, and like, oh, we're gonna charge you because we just built the fast lane, but they'll never take that off. They'll just keep increasing the amount, and so. That's why I'm kind of like, we've got plenty of money in our municipality.
Well, look, if you live in a state with no income tax, everything costs more as far as the services go, whether it's car registrations, tolls, anything else the government needs. I mean, for the second or third most populous state in the United States has no income tax. Money's got to come from somewhere, man. I mean, it just does. I mean, New York City, you pay city tax and state tax. I'm not saying that's neither right nor wrong, but that's where revenue comes from.
Right. Oof, man, it's crazy. And so,
sorry, I didn't mean to go off on that. I know Tony wanted to talk about that insurance thing we usually talk about.
Yeah. Well, more about dictator DeSantis being up to it again. I think he'll just keep us on our toes all the way through the end. Unfortunately, he's always up to something. And so we think that Byron Donalds, that is the front runner to replace him as the governor coming up in November. Now, before that, remember we've talked about, and we've had Frank College here, who's running for CFO. You can vote for him only in the primaries. I believe that's August 18th.
As a Republican.
That's right. If you're a Republican and you're registered, you can vote for Frank College. You have to vote in the primaries on August 18th. That's the only time I'm going to vote. I'm going to go there. I'm going to vote for Frank. I'm going to stand in the line and be like, vote for Frank. They're going to be like, who? Just Frank? You'll see him on there. Just vote it. Just check it off. Yeah. He's running for CFO, and he is the candidate that you want to vote for. Check out our show where we've had Frank College on here, and you can hear it from yourself. I mean, what a great guy. I think he's going to bring a lot of good stuff to Tallahassee, and definitely a different voice. Instead of let me march to the dictator's voice, and it's just a bunch of crap to where somebody can have that much power. And it's just, as we've said it before, Hans, too much power, absolute power ruins absolutely. And it did in this case, to where he's running for president. The insurance lobby, somehow in the middle of a quote unquote fake crisis, they sure did pump out $100 million to give to him to run for president. That really coerced him to make these heavy changes like he did in property insurance, and then try to cover it up. That's what he's trying to do now, is to save face, to have some sort of legacy left.
Exactly.
You know,
This
just
is
saying,
a legacy move, 100%.
right. I screwed all of you guys in homeowners insurance, so we're still paying $5,000-$6,000 a year minimum with crappy no coverage insurance, $10,000 unless you use my crappy vendor. That's just unacceptable. The laws that we already have here in the state of Florida, like Frank said, he's like, I don't need to make new laws. I just have to have them enforce the current ones because they're not doing that right now. You know, like our Florida legislature put out laws a long time ago, and one of them is our consumer rights bill. And in there it says that we deserve and we should get replacement cost value in ordinance and law coverage. I mean, it says that, right? And then now we're seeing that these roof surface schedules are coming out, even though they lost it a long time ago in 2020, 2021 on getting that through the legislature. It failed for a reason. And these insurance companies still are just like, you know what? We're going to do what we want, you know, even though it conflicts against our Florida statute. And so now I'm doing it. Now I'm standing on the soapbox. All right.
But
So
I know
yeah.
Tony had some coverage discussion to have for us to help folks who are trying to find the right coverage and right coverages.
Exactly. I was going to get us back on track here. And Tony, throughout the break or during the break, you were saying, hey, I wanted to remind the homeowners of this. I wanted to kind of set the stage for you off that.
Yeah. So there's some key phrases I want people to pay attention to if they see it on their policy. And if it's on their policy, they have a bad policy. That's limited water damage. Most people do not realize limited water damage.
$10,000 cap.
$10,000 cap minus deductible. So if you have a $2,000 deductible, you're only going to get a maximum of $8,000.
That's crazy.
Now, your builder's grade kitchen or bathroom, which is where most of your pipes break in the house, to replace it, replacement cost, builder's grade, which is crap. That's like saying military grade. You're talking $25,000. Is the average cost to put a builder's grade kitchen in.
Minimum.
So now you're sitting here with $8,000. The rest of it you got to come out of pocket for.
Right. But you're paying for full coverage and you think that you're covered.
And a lot of problems is these agents who don't know what they're doing. They just get into the industry, and that's kind of why all of our E&O, errors and emissions, have gone through the roof as well. Because they're like, oh, limited water damage, instead of actually figuring out what it is. Because when you go to take your 220 license to become an insurance agent, general lines agent, there's nothing in the test about coverage. It's all about old laws. They don't teach you how to write a policy. Once you pass the test and say, okay, you're qualified, go write policies. So, you know, that's a big thing you need to look for. You need to look for anything that's ACV, actual cash value. If you have an agent who's writing anything ACV, now there are some carriers where you don't have a choice, but in the grand scheme of things, you want replacement costs on everything.
Right. Now, an HO3 policy, you should be offering every homeowner RCV. Isn't that right?
Yes.
And it would just be like, say, a commercial building where you may have insurers that are surplus lines carriers.
Right.
How it was explained to me is surplus lines are more negotiable. You can say, okay, I want this coverage. I don't want that. I can pay for this, but not for that. Whereas an HO3 policy is a non-negotiable, just here's where it is, but it's supposed to be a full coverage kind of thing. That's kind of how it was explained to me.
That's pretty accurate, because surplus lines, they're allowed to write in Florida, but they're not exactly what's called a standard market. They're an excess market. So, you know, I mean, the attorney could probably explain it a little bit better than myself, but all I know is if a standard market, if they go out of business, you have FIGA.
Right.
With surplus lines, if they go out of business, you have no recourse.
And just, you know, I'm trying to not speak because we took up a lot of time and I want to give Tony a chance. So the only reason I'm quiet, and trust me, it's hard for me to do that, but I'm doing my best.
That's okay. But, you know, so those are huge things to look at. Those two especially. Now,
when you get phone calls, you get those price shoppers as well, too, right? I mean, are you still able to help them avoid the $10,000 limited water damage cap, the $10,000 citizens trap, or the takeout policies that they go to? Here's a trick
with Citizens that most people don't know. Citizens has their own program just like Kin does, where you use their contractors. That is the only way to get full water coverage with Citizens, is if you sign up for that. So if, say, Slide or another company purchases that policy in a takeout, And then they say, oh, no, you only have limited water damage. Well, do you offer the same program? And they go, no. Well, guess what? That's the program we were on. You have to pay replacement cost.
Right.
You have to pay full water.
On water damage.
And my wife, as a public adjuster, has used that and won several cases for the homeowners.
Oh, for sure.
Because we are here for the homeowners, the business owners. We're here to protect your American dream, whether that's a car you want, whether it's your dream house, whether it's a business to build a legacy for your family and put your kids through school.
Right. Yeah, because Citizens being owned by the state of Florida, they have their own contractor connection that they would put in their program. So if Citizens depopulated a lot of policies, about 1 million policies. So they're about a little over 300,000 policies now. Out of about 6.5 million policies is the big pool for HO3 policies here in the state of Florida. About 23 million people here. But the ones that are living in single family residences that require HO3 policies, about 6.5 million policies altogether. And so 1.4 million policies. Citizens owned that about 2 years ago. That was the majority of the policies by one carrier. And so they then started to depopulate, and these insurance companies, if they don't have that same program that Citizens has, then yes, you're right, that they don't have that program that's owned by the state of Florida. Main Grove or one of these other companies that took these off takeout policies now have to pay you. So
no, that's only until the policy renews.
Correct. That's only until the policy renews. Now, I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
That's terrible.
Well, I mean, we're because my question was, that you still have these, these price shoppers call you, and you're able to help them out and kind of guide them to the right insurance
Here's
company.
our deal. We can help a price shopper, but they're going to sign a form that says it's not the recommended coverage, because I've had it happen before where somebody wanted bare bones auto insurance. They had a bad license. Their father lived with them. They wanted to put it in their father's name. So we did it. We had them sign a form stating that they understood they could not drive the vehicle. They understood they couldn't use for commercial use. A year later, I get a phone call from the carrier saying, this person was using this vehicle for commercial use, and they said you never told them they couldn't drive the vehicle. I immediately took that form, sent it to the carrier, never heard another word.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one thing I'll do real quick. People come to me all the time and they say, on their automobile damage claim, they'll say, I have full coverage. And I go,
that's a very loose term.
It is. I said, full coverage means $10,000 in personal injury protection, $10,000 in property liability. That is, in fact, full coverage in Florida.
Well, comp and collision as well.
Well,
that's what makes it full coverage.
Yeah, but people are told what they need to drive is full coverage.
Yeah, which is a farce.
Completely. But again, people go all the time and go, oh no, I have full coverage, and I'll go, do you have comp and collision? They go, I don't know. I think I got what I needed to drive. And
comp and collision,
and that's not full. But for people, full coverage. If you can drive, that's full coverage.
Sure.
No, that's state minimums.
If it's legal.
Right.
That's state minimums. Full coverage is having the comp and collision there.
And I agree with you, but I'm just telling you, that's one of those situations like we're talking about, is when people say, hey, they go to the PIP, they go to Direct General and go, I want full coverage, and full coverage sells them for $2,000 a year. PIP and property damage liability go, you got full coverage, you're ready to roll, baby.
Let's go.
No, you really don't. Well, that's the other thing, and this I want to bring up real quick is windshields. Everybody thinks a windshield does not impact your insurance premium because windshields are free.
Right.
Well, let me explain something. Somebody's got to pay for that windshield. Windshields are not free. If you have multiple windshield claims on your policy, your rates are going to go up and you are charged for it. One of the other big things I want to talk about, claims in general. Like you were saying, do not call the 800 number and inquire about writing a claim, because as soon as you say the word claim, they mark it down. If you don't pursue it, they will mark it down as an unpaid claim, which counts against you and follows you for up to 10 years now, the person and the property. Mm-hmm. It used to be just the property for 5 years. Now the claim can follow you as a person, and it sticks with the property. So somebody buys your house, you had 3 claims, they're getting charged for those claims. And when you move, you're still getting charged for those claims. Mm-hmm, so it's another way for the carriers to shaft the little guy.
Right. Now, oh man, speaking of like overreaching information wise on this, because that shouldn't be carrying you and your house and all this other stuff. Did you hear about this lawsuit about I don't know if it was Ford, one of the big automakers, that were giving personal information from the vehicle to insurance companies?
Yep.
No.
And so I heard just a little bit about it. And if you've heard something about it,
Did
Tony,
you
I'd
just
love
see
to
the
hear.
patent that he just came out with?
Well, I know they got in trouble for it.
Well, there's a patent, and I'll bet you anything it's going to come out soon enough in the vehicles. It's a facial recognition system that they're going to start putting in these trucks.
And like long haul trucks or what
no,
kind of
like
trucks?
regular pickup trucks. So
pickup trucks.
if you seem impaired, and a lot of ranchers are coming out against this, because if somebody gets hurt on a ranch and they have to jump in the truck and they're distressed, the vehicle won't operate. They just took this patent out.
If only they had an ambulance, if they had their
so
so
it's like if you're in distress, the vehicle's not going to operate. So
well, I'm more worried about my vehicle right now sending, because every vehicle now has Wi-Fi and all this other stuff, and the OnStar stuff or whichever.
It's data.
But
they sell your
apparently
data.
they're sending all of your data to your insurance guy. Insurance companies are purchasing this data. And
adding it to your insurance score.
They know where you're
boxes,
going,
right?
how fast you're going, if you hit your brakes, if you whatever it is. I mean, it's just like
it's Big Brother, man.
On commercial policies, commercial auto policies, they used to give you these. They used to Allstate used to give you a little box.
Oh, everybody's doing it now. They're mandating it in any commercial vehicle.
You got to plug into the port.
Yeah,
your commercial vehicle.
Right. Yeah, not my commercial vehicles.
Well,
you know
it
what?
depends on weight class too. Because Infinity Kemper is one of them. If you have a vehicle that's
do it anyways, just so I know where all my vehicles are, but
they make it mandatory to where if you sign it, you have to choose an electronic system so they can track your vehicle, see how you drive. It'll tell you if your seatbelt's on. It'll tell you everything that you're doing in that vehicle.
Yeah, I get that for like these commercial stuff, like the Amazons of the world and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of liability there that they have, and just on the personal side of things, it just continues for me. Just continues to just like evade your personal privacy and personal space. We don't have much independence left in here. And it's just slowly being taken further away. Taking away cash is going to do that as well too.
Right. I guess apparently Richie's never seen himself drive. But, Tony, I think we got like a minute, man. So let's give it back to you. Tell us everything that people need to know.
Well, if you have any insurance questions, I'm not here to sell you a policy. I'm here to educate you. And that's what my office is all about. So, we'll review your policy. And if you have a great policy, and we'll tell you to stick with that policy. So give us a call, 407-270-8220. We'd be happy to have a conversation. If I can win your business, great. If you have a great policy, stick with who you got.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being on the show. And Hans, of course, always love to have this going on the show. We'll talk to you guys next week. Keep checking us out online and on our YouTube page. Talk to you guys. See you.